Hello everyone, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for creating time to watch this video. I appreciate so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do so that once a video is posted, you get an alert and we get to learn together. I am talking about critical thinking in this video, critical thinking and problem solving. I had mentioned it initially in one of the videos, but I feel there's need to highlight some other key things related to critical thinking and problem solving. For starters, I'll start by maybe explaining what critical thinking is. Critical thinking is thinking in an open-minded way. Thinking in an open-minded way. So remember, we are talking about learners. For these learners to be able to think in an open-minded way, it means essentially the teacher, the parents, or whoever is engaged in the learning process with these learners has to give open-ended questions to trigger the open-minded kind of thinking. I'll give an example. Maybe in music, you go to class or you ask your learners, why do we need to have musical instruments as accompaniments during a traditional dance performance? That's an example of an open-ended question. Or in agriculture, you may ask, why do we have a scarecrow? Why do we need to have a scarecrow in the garden? So that is an open-ended question that will help the learner to think in an open-minded way. One thing I like about critical thinking is that it encourages or enhances creativity and innovation. This is evident, or this can be seen when learners have a particular project where they're supposed to develop something or to accomplish a task. For instance, when learners were developing 3D sources of water, a lot of creativity was in there, a lot of critical thinking was in there. There are learners who did, like maybe they did a river. So they did a river. Others used plasticine because it is what they could get. Others used clay soil, others used loam soil. And then where water was meant to be flowing, some decided to paint, others left it unpainted, and others could even, instead of leaving it unpainted, they could even look for a fabric that is blue. You know, they left it unpainted because they could not afford paint. So that means their thinking was kind of limited. But if they thought in a broader way, they would even look for a piece of fabric that is blue, cut it nicely, then paste it there. So for critical thinking to bring about creativity, it means that the learners also have to be familiar with their immediate environment. That is environmental awareness, which is also a pertinent and contemporary issue. Before you start solving a problem, you need to understand your immediate environment so that you know, if I have to solve this, what is there in my immediate environment that I can use to solve this. Others, while still on the same project, while they were making maybe sources of water, they did the clouds, they used cotton wool and left the cotton wool white, while some went ahead and painted the cotton wool gray or black. So that tells you a lot in terms of their creativity and critical thinking skills. For the one who painted gray or black, it means they have an understanding that rain comes from the dark clouds. So that is about critical thinking and problem solving. And another thing that makes me really appreciate critical thinking skill is that it motivates you to understand other situations around you. You see, like maybe back to music, when you ask them, why do we need to have musical instruments while doing a traditional performance? So for them to understand other situations around them, they'll be like, what if this traditional dance was performed without instruments? So you get to compare in your mind the performance with the instrument and the one without the instrument. So you get to understand other situations around you which will eventually lead you to to have good decision making skills before you present your answers. Critical thinking is also very, very essential because it helps to have the learner engaged throughout the lesson. It enhances engagement. The learners are fully involved because one question leads to another discussion, and all pupils are fully engaged. So this means the facilitators need to pick on the right questions, not just any question. Pick on the right questions. If it's the parents, if you're doing your assignment with the learners, pick on the right assignments, not assignments, pick on the right questions so that these learners can be able to think in an open-minded way. Open-minded way will also bring about creativity. It will make them think. And this also brings into my mind the issue of people saying, many people saying that the competency-based curriculum is an expensive curriculum. If you are one of those, know that this is one of the cheapest curriculum because we insist, or rather the curriculum insists on using locally available resources, locally available materials. You use what is around you. For instance, if your child comes home with an assignment, they're told to cut and paste. So they're supposed to cut. You have what they have cut and they need to paste. Then you have no glue in the house. Your critical thinking and problem solving skill should lead you into thinking that you can still take wheat flour, mix with water, and you have your glue there. Then you use it to paste. For the people who are in the village, don't say we don't have glue, we don't have wheat flour. There are some plants that produce glue-like substance, and you can use the same. And as you are doing this, it's important to also take into consideration the pertinent and contemporary issue, which we call disaster risk reduction. So if you are to get your glue from a plant, consider yourself. Some plants are poisonous, some plants have thorns, others can prick you, some plants could be hosting some animals which are dangerous. So before you venture into that, have an understanding of your environment, think of the risk factors involved, then venture into that. So this curriculum is very, very appropriate to all children. The only thing that matters here is understand your environment, then put in the right disaster risk reduction measures, and you're good to go. So that's about critical thinking and problem solving. I believe you have learned one or two, and see you next time where I will talk about digital literacy. Thank you.